What is up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to another edition of the Sooner Surge as Oklahoma softball loses a series and loses back-to-back games. Man, I am. This doesn't happen very often. And Jackson, a lot of people thought this could be a preview of what's going to be happening in the World Series later on this year, and uh, OU just did not get the bats going this weekend, Jackson. It was a bad performance when you look at the bats this weekend for Oklahoma. And kudos to Texas. The pitching staff shut OU down for the most part, Jackson.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this feels like a doom and gloom video or something in which it's like, oh, the world's falling because Oklahoma softball so it's going to be Oklahoma softball. But this is shocking, and this was going to happen at a certain point. Now, whether or not it was going to be in the Big 12 Conference was another topic of discussion. But going into the series, Oklahoma, they were rolling. They were playing extremely great offensively. They were probably the hottest offensive team in the country, which we're seeing Oklahoma being used to just because of like how fast they can score runs. And in the series, Jason, you said it, they never were able to get the bats going. And you give a lot of credit to the Texas staff. As you said, they really did shut down Oklahoma. Texas, they executed extremely well throughout the whole entire series, even though they lost the first game. It felt like, after last night's game that Oklahoma was going to find a way to bounce back today. It was going to be a Sunday afternoon in which Oklahoma was going to come out and really play maybe their best game of the season just kind of because I expect them to bounce back off of a loss, but they didn't. And they lost a second straight game. So I think now I expect Oklahoma to respond extremely well from loss of a series. But it'll be interesting to see is how much more added motivation is this for the potential of them having to play Texas, maybe in the Big 12 tournament again, or maybe even in the College World Series?
Well, there'll be a lot of motivation, Jackson, but the fact of the matter is Texas is very confident right now after beating Oklahoma 2-3. And OU cannot get going against Czech. I mean, she pitched twice in this series out of relief, and she pitched awesome. OU could not hit her that well. And then you look at really the rest of the year, OU, the series you're going to be pointing to now is OSU. I mean, OSU took 2 out of 3 versus Texas. And I'm just going to see, I'm interested to see what happens. And also with the pitching staff with Oklahoma. Kirsten Deal did not get the start today. And I was a little bit kind of, I wouldn't say confused, but kind of baffled by it. I thought she might start, just didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Came in and pitched an inning and a half and did good, didn't allow a hit, but they went with Maxwell and decided to see if they can, I guess they felt comfortable with Maxwell. Maxwell pitched pretty good, allowed the 2-run shot. That was the difference in the game. But the bats is what cost OU this weekend. They just did not get the bats going. And when they did, the home runs they hit, they only hit 3 home runs all weekend. And they were they were pretty much with nobody on. So they really didn't get going. It's disappointing as an OU softball for sure. I'm sure they're disappointed. They will bounce back. I'm not concerned about that. But this was their first probably like big test. And they got beat 2 out of 3. So we'll see where they go from here, Jackson.
Well, you think about also the senior class. This is the first time they've ever lost a series as well. So this is just honestly as new to them as it is to the freshmen. So
and they didn't hit very well today.
No, like they didn't offensively play well. And something that it's been an issue throughout the whole entire season for Oklahoma. I think it's the one thing I can truly complain about, Jason. I think you're going to agree with me, but it's the mistakes made on the base running paths.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there constant mistakes? Why is there players taking chances, trying to advance an extra base whenever we've seen it fail multiple times? This is something we're not seeing Oklahoma being accustomed to. Now, obviously, we heard over the offseason some the Oklahoma, right, they were going to try and steal more bases. They were going to try and be more aggressive on the base paths. But there's also has been times where it's even shot them in the foot and killed their momentum offensively because they made a base running mistake. So do we see maybe Oklahoma after this series take a look more into that? Like maybe they not necessarily play conservative on the bases, but maybe dial it down some and not try and take as many chances And also, I do think that whenever we see this Oklahoma team play Texas again, I know that Oklahoma, as we've said, is going to be extra motivated to get the job done.
I get that, but I also think I thought you would today. They were extra motivated after losing last night, and you score 7 runs in the whole series. That's just not a great performance. And you have to give credit to Texas pitching. You have to. Okay, I want to make sure I do that as an OU person. Kudos to Texas pitching, but also back-to-back games 1 run from Oklahoma, back-to-back losses 2-1. Yeah, it's and I'm sure there's going to be extra motivation, Jackson. I agree. I think will be. The question is from here. Okay, they're not going to be ranked number 1. I don't think. Should Texas be ranked over Oklahoma?
No.
You don't think they will be?
No, I mean, as Texas, have they lost 5 or 6 games on
the season? They lost 6 games. They just beat Oklahoma 2 out of 3. You don't think they'll be ranked ahead of them?
No,
I think they might be. The reason I brought it up is I think they might be.
Well,
and that'll give extra motivation.
Well, we saw the last time Oklahoma got demoted from number 1. We saw that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They'll be motivated. Yeah, and this isn't. Listen, Sooner fans, this is not the end all. Don't get me wrong. This is not the end all for Oklahoma softball. But I will say this. I do think you could say, okay, is this a cause for concern, or is this something that, I mean, are we to the point where I think a lot of people might say this, that Texas could beat Oklahoma in a series. They just did, right?
Yeah.
There might be other teams. OSU, they just beat Texas 2 out of 3. Now they're thinking, wait, we can beat Oklahoma 2 out of 3 games, right? I think what it does is it brings confidence to not only Texas, but other teams that are getting ready to face Oklahoma, specifically OSU, who just took 2 out of 3 from Texas, right? So I think that's what you got to watch for Oklahoma, but they just got to get the bats going, bar none, period. Bats got to get going.
And, I'm not one to complain about things outside of the game the majority of the time that cost Oklahoma the game. But, Jason, I don't know if you noticed this. I wasn't able to watch the game today on TV because it was on Longhorn Network. But Friday and Saturday, there was things being blown inside the stadium, like air horns and whistles and train sounds.
Yeah.
That's when Oklahoma was on the mound. Now, I'm not saying that affected Oklahoma at all, but I don't understand why that's being allowed by the Big 12 Conference and those items not being confiscated, because those truly can affect certain at-bats or times during the game in which the players need to be able to focus the most.
Yeah, and I think that's just part of going on the road, and OU is going to get everybody's best shot. When people beat Oklahoma, it's like they won the World Series. And Texas can say right now that they beat Oklahoma 2 out of 3 games. And that's a fact, and that's what we can see from this. And OU will not whine about it. OU will not cry. They will get back on the horse and come out next series and try to destroy whoever they play. And I think the most important thing is when they have a big test again. That's what I'm interested to see, because I'm interested now with Maxwell going again. Do they not trust Deal in these big time games? What's the reasoning there? So we'll find out. But there you have it. Instant reaction. OU loses 2-1. Back-to-back games. OU loses 2-1. Let me repeat that for you again. OU softball lost back-to-back games 2-1. In case you didn't hear that again, OU softball just lost back-to-back games 2-1. Yep. I'm saying it 3 times because it just never happens. We got the eclipse tomorrow. Weird things are happening, Jackson, but OU will be fine. OU will jump back on, and they'll be fine. The true test will be later on in the season when they get this matchup again or when they get OSU. But appreciate you guys watching this video. As always, make sure you're subscribed. Check out fanstop.com. Use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Appreciate it. Till next time. Boomer.